Hello and welcome back to the channel, and we are here with another trailer breakdown, and this is from the Haunted Hogsmeade shop trailer. We did a live breakdown, but this is the full in-depth breakdown, and I have found some really interesting things that link us back to the Sebastian Sallow trailer that we got a few weeks ago, and it is fascinating to see some of the correlations between that trailer and this trailer, and the fact that they all link to Salazar Slytherin. If you are looking for anything Hogwarts Legacy related, then you are in the right place, because we cover the game completely, but we also do videos on the wider wizarding world as well. If that sounds like anything you're interested in, then please consider subscribing to the channel, and also don't forget to give the video a like, because it really does help me out. I have previously broken down all of the trailers that we have had so far for this game, including the common room trailers, and I will leave links to them down below and up in the cards in the corner. But let's get into this video. The trailer opens with the familiar entranceway to Hogsmeade, and you can see the name of the village above this archway. We then move further into the village and we get this shot here. There is a couple of locations that we can see in this area that we can confirm exactly where we are. Straight ahead of us is the pub, the Free Broomsticks, as you can see by the symbol above the doorway here. The shop to the right hand side is Quality Quidditch Supplies, and to the left hand side you can see a signpost that is leading down towards the Hogshead pub. There's also a sign that points forward, which is actually not very clear to see in this trailer here. However, we have actually seen this exact location before in the Rainy Night trailer, and if you look here you can see a few more of these details a lot more clearly. You can clearly see the sign to the right that does show that this shop is Quality Quidditch Supplies, and if you look up the stairs to the left you can see Zonko's shop as detailed on the signpost. The trailer then moves us further into Hogsmeade, and we get a nice new shot of Honeydukes, which we haven't yet seen in any of the trailers. There's also a statue in this courtyard to the left by this tree, and I think I know who this statue is going to be of. Hogsmeade, the village, was founded by the wizard Hengist of Woodcroft. He came to Hogsmeade, was potentially taught by the original founders, and founded the only fully wizarding settlement in the whole of Great Britain. I think this statue is going to be a statue of him. There's actually two more shops to the right hand side of the trailer. This one here is going to be the tea shop, which I believe becomes Madame Puddifoot's, and this shop here closer to us is actually the post office. And we can define that by again looking at the Rainy Nights trailer, where we get an alternative look at this courtyard. As you can see prominently in view to the left hand side, this is clearly a tea shop with the tables and chairs out the front. As the camera pans across, we can also see that circular signpost, which is actually for the post office. In the middle of the screen here, there's actually another shop, and I'm not entirely sure what this is. If we zoom in on the doorway, it appears to have the letters CR above it. I'm not entirely sure what this is going to symbolise. And finally, to the right hand side, we get a better view of the statue of Hengist. We then get our first shot of Cassandra Mason. Now, this is a name that was originally leaked on IMDb as one of the characters in the game. I originally said that I thought it could be related to the divination teacher, potentially linking to Cassandra Trelawney. However, I am obviously incorrect, as this character here has been confirmed by the subtitles to be Cassandra Mason. She is taking the details from our student as we are going to purchase this haunted shop. It is worth noting as well that the location that we are signing this contract outside of is not the location of the haunted shop as seen here. As you can see, the building is just completely different. So this location is likely going to be her shop, where she will sell you her shops from. Maybe she is the real estate agent for the whole of Hogsmeade. Our character then enters the haunted shop and the darkness begins. Initially everything seems good as we enter into what looks like a normal storefront with some of the items that previous owners have been selling. On the cabinet in front of us, there is several books, boxes, and bottles. To the right hand side, there is a symbol on the wall here. I believe this is going to be an alternative symbol for the Free Broomsticks because it looks like Free Broomsticks. However, it is different to the one that we see above the door. There is a sign at the top that says No Trolls. There is also an old sign for Hogsmeade. So I think these are some historic signs for the location. There's also something that looks like a hand behind the counter here. Now I think this might have something to do with the mission in Hull, but I will get to that as we move on later. Finally, if you look at the doorway opposite us, the lantern is lit, and I believe throughout this whole trailer it means that when lanterns are lit above doorways, they are ones that you are able to enter. We then head into the back room, and this is where things get a little more dark. Initially this could just look like a room in disrepair, but as the trailer progresses you notice things that are slightly more sinister. We see spiders later on in the trailer, and we also see the mannequins moving. Straight ahead of us to the end of the room on the floor, there is what looks like a chest. So as you can see here, we have possibly moved this chest to a different location. This does not look anything like the previous room. There is some wallpaper on the walls. There's also a picture of this wizard to the right hand side. I'm wondering if this is just a picture placed here, or if this person is actually going to be very prominent in the storyline. We've seen chests similar to this in the Wizarding world as a whole. Newt's briefcase is a very similar function, but even more so is Moody's chest that he has in the Goblet of Fire. Now this one has 2 locks, and I think this hints towards the fact there are actually 2 dungeons in this trailer. We get a shot of our character opening the chest and looking down inside it, and then a shot which I presume is next showing a ladder appearing down towards this stone floor. Now that is important to note that this is a stone floor. Now the fact this is a stone floor I think indicates that this is the first dungeon that we enter. We then see our character climbing down the ladder into the dungeon. Now the next shot I believe is from the second dungeon using the second key in the chest, because this does not have a stone floor and actually looks to be inside a building. The camera angle is skewed so it gives a very eerie feel. The ceiling is now to the left hand side of us and our character appears to be walking down the wall. As our character gets to the end of this corridor, the corridor stretches, not allowing us to go through the doorway. We then get a shot of 3 more doors showing how expansive this dungeon could potentially be. However, it looks like the only one we can go through again is the one with the light above the doorway. Now I think this is the dark character leading us through to the location he wants us to be. As the doorway opens we can see some boxes and a mannequin inside. Now at this moment in the trailer a character is actually speaking, and in the subtitles he is given the name Fastidio. Fastidio is actually an Italian word and it means nuisance. Now I see that there is a lot of people speculating that this is potentially to do with a poltergeist, as poltergeists are noisy ghosts and are definitely a nuisance. If you think about the other poltergeists we know from the Harry Potter franchise, that is Peeves, and he would definitely be described as a nuisance. So potentially this is haunted by the poltergeist Fastidio. We then see this shot of the mannequins hanging from the ceiling. They are hung there by strings and are shown to be puppets. Maybe Fastidio is the puppet master. The next shot is incredible, and I would really love this to be an element of gameplay. We see our character using the Lumos spell to illuminate the area, and as they do so, the mannequins are all around us, stretching their arms towards us. Maybe our Lumos spell in this location does not last for a long time, and we have to keep using it, and every time we do, the mannequins move location. I think that would be incredible. We then get a shot of our character running down the same hallway that we saw them in previously. This hallway leads off in different directions in this location, and the mannequins are chasing our character away. Our character is illuminated by a light. This could potentially be our wand, but I think it could also be the lantern that we see later on in the trailer. We then get a really intriguing shot. Now in my initial live breakdown I believe this could be Merlin, just because he looks like Merlin is described, and there is also the blue and white stars behind, which is associated with Merlin's colours. However, looking at the trailer that we got for the Slytherin common room, if you look at the design of the statue and the hair that rolls down at the chest of Salazar Slytherin, you can see that this is actually the same character here, and he is actually in the same pose as we see in the Slytherin common room. If you look to the bottom left hand side of the screen here, you can even see the top of the snake's head that is on the pole in his right hand. The only difference between this statue and the other statue is that he is not holding the skull. Now we see a hand earlier in this trailer behind the counter. I think perhaps we might have to use this hand to hold a cursed object and bring it back to this location, possibly breaking the spell and purging the dark spirits from this location. The next shot is a strange perspective shot, looking down on our character from the ceiling. There is some spiders that look very large, however I think this is just due to the perspective that we are looking at. We then have this shot of the lantern floating above this pedestal. Now This is a very interesting shot for me because this pedestal has the symbol of the 7-pointed star. The 7-pointed star is known as a septagram or heptagram, and it has many meanings. We know that 7 is a strong magical number within the wizarding world. Tom Riddle as a child says that 7 is the most powerful magical number, and we see it several times throughout the series. The 7 Horcruxes, the 7 Potters, there is 7 books, and there's also 7 protections against the Philosopher's Stone. I'm sure there are many more instances of this as well. The septagram also has many meanings in real life, and this is linked to several different religions or beliefs. The septagram is linked to the 7 Pleiades stars. It's also linked to the 7 days of creation or the 7 days of the week. It is linked to the 7 major Hindu chakras. It is also linked to the 7 notes of the diatonic music scale, which is the white notes on the piano. It is also linked to 7 elements: earth, fire, water, air, above, below, and within. This symbol is also associated with magic as a whole and is seen as a symbol of protection from evil. Now this symbol is on a pedestal below this lantern, so I believe this lantern is going to be carried by our character as a protection spell from the dark forces that are going on in this shop. Now, one more thing that I found absolutely fascinating about this symbol is that it actually links back to my theory of the book that we saw in the Sebastian Sallow trailer. I will leave the link to my video below so you can watch it in your own time. However, I will just go for a quick recap now. In the Sebastian Sallow trailer, which also features a statue of Slytherin, we get a shot of this book. Now, this book has symbols on it relating to demons, and specifically the demon Astaroth. Now Astaroth has several powers. Some of those are including seeing the future and teaching the magical arts, but one of them specifically is to teach the ability to speak to serpents. Now I summarise that Slytherin used this book to summon the demon Astaroth and get him to give him the power to converse with snakes. Now Astaroth is known to be one of the Grand Dukes of Howe, but he is also the treasurer of Jinistan, the land of the fairies. Now the thing that links these two videos together is the fact that this star has a name other than the septagram or heptagram, and it is also known as the Fairy Star. We now have 2 trailers that link to Salazar Slytherin, both with symbols that link to the demon Astaroth, the demon that grants the power to speak to serpents. I think this is not a coincidence. We then get a shot of our character fighting the mannequins. We can see our character using the Protego shield charm to block this attack from the mannequin here. They then use what I believe to be the Incendio charm, however it does appear to be later in the story because it appears to be powered up, as you can see by the rippling effect of the fire here. Now the last shot I believe is actually linked to one of the first shots as we go into the house, and I think this is as our character gets to the bottom of the ladder will disappear and our character turns around and looks at the location in front of them. This is possibly going to be in the first dungeon, not the second dungeon. I think we will have to go through the first dungeon, find the key to the second dungeon, which will then lead us down into this location where eventually we will be fighting against this poltergeist. Finally, the trailer ends with the graphic of the haunted Hogsmeade shop, and it just looks great. I love this design. I would love to see it on some merchandise. It tells you exactly what we get. We get the additional dungeon with inside this house. We also get the shopkeeper's cosmetic set, which just looks great. And we also get the in-game Hogsmeade shop. Now the in-game Hogsmeade shop is confirmed to give you discounts for whatever you purchase. So I don't know if we actually can own and sell things from the shop, or whether somebody else runs the shop for us, as we are obviously at school, and we can buy things there that we would be able to buy in other shops, however it's at a much cheaper rate. And finally, the last shot confirms what we needed to know about the exclusives, and that is the fact that this shop quest is going to be exclusive to PlayStation consoles through till February 10th, 2024 for a whole year. So there you have it. That is my breakdown of this trailer, and it is fascinating to see that it is still linking back to Solomon and Astaroth and Slytherin, and there is links between this trailer and the last one. So maybe the dark magic throughout Hogwarts Legacy is somehow linked to Salazar Slytherin and King Solomon. Let me know what you thought of this theory in the comments down below, and also let me know your theories. If you want to discuss anything Wizarding World, then come over to the Discord. We are crying out for members because it is quite new, and we are looking for anyone who wants to get involved in any Wizarding World chat outside of my videos. The link for that will be down in the description below. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and if you head over to the community tab on my channel, it will tell you different ways you can enter into a competition to win a copy of the game. But that was it for this video, and I really hope you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. But until then, mischief managed.